Which do you guys consider to be a greater threat to society? Medical misinformation or the censorship of medical misinformation? I ask because our old favorite video platform, the distribution service YouTube, has decided to once again ramp up their policy against medical misinformation so that anything that does not conform to the narrative of the WHO and local medical authorities are going to be relegated to the depths of hell on the platform. So let's just consider the fact that during COVID, those who advocated against getting the COVID vaccine, which it turns out appears to cause myocarditis and have very little effect upon the disease itself, despite the continued lies that it would prevent transmission, that you wouldn't get COVID if you took the vaccine.
The various shots that people are getting now cover that. You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Yeah.
I wonder whether or not it was a net benefit for society to have YouTube putting its thumb on the scales along with everybody else, at behest, of course, at the Democratic Party and Pfizer and Moderna and the drug companies that were producing such medication.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Well, just imagine in the past that various companies that wanted to generate greater profits for their products owned the WHO, owned the local authorities that told you what was correct regarding medicine. Go back and remember the time when doctors advocated for the health benefits of tobacco, that there was no linkage to smoking on a regular basis and lung cancer. Do we remember that? Imagine those who stated that maybe, just maybe, smoking might have ill effects on your health. Maybe it didn't lead to the greatest in athletic achievements and pulmonary and respiratory efficiency. Could that possibly be deemed medical information? Yes. If the WHO was owned by the tobacco companies way back when, that definitely would have been the case. What about Big Leech in the late 1700s when it was believed that you could leech out the evil spirits of a person by applying leeches to take out the blood, the same way that they bled George Washington, our first president, to death using this medical practice? But if Big Leech owns the WHO, who gets to tell YouTube what is correct, we're going to still be leeching today. Just the same way that the drug companies are leeching from the taxpayer, able to take massive amounts of your taxpayer dollars and put it into their pockets and then demand medical misinformation applied as a label to something that counteracts the narrative that they desired. What about thalidomide, which back in the 20th century was used to counteract morning sickness for pregnant women? Imagine the WHO being influenced by makers of thalidomide who then tell YouTube that it's a complete rumor and lie that thalidomide is bad for you. Meanwhile, you churn out massive numbers of babies with birth defects, major birth defects, but we're going to continue to use thalidomide because any narrative to the contrary is buried or given a strike on YouTube. Way to go, YouTube. You guys are definitely for the people. You're definitely for truth. And more recently, we got America hooked on opioids because in order to counteract pain, it must be prescribed that you give people opioids. And the Sackler family made billions on it. Hey, what if I take 100 million of the multi-billion dollars that I made and distribute it to those who can influence the medical consensus like the WHO once again? Gee, I wonder if you think that I think that they're a corrupt organization and they in turn get to put the iron fist down upon YouTube and relegate any questions about the use of opioids to counteract pain to the bottom of the barrel. Way to go, YouTube. You got people addicted to opioids using the same policies that you are employing today against medical misinformation. Thank God you're eliminating debate. And I say that only as somebody who's invested in the drug companies. Keep those dividends pouring in. Thank you, YouTube, for eliminating debate. Do no evil, Google.